It is a beautiful day. We had some rain yesterday, and now it's looking pretty good. All right, let's see. I'm gonna move my move. All right, today's topic is treatment. You know, you come across people, you know, they just show on their face that they're being mistreated. Some way, somehow, there is some form of abuse going on. And then, you know, you have all these places for help and everything that you can go. But what about where you have these mind trickeries going around saying this twin flame this or your soulmate that and everything that keeps you trauma bonded to somebody because you're under the impression that you're with your soulmate. You're under the impression that you're with the love of your life. And it kind of confuses things. And sometimes it makes the other, you know, the person that's with the person that they're trauma bonded with, it makes them look like, you know, that something's not right with them. That they've got mental issues because they're continuously putting up with poor treatment. And then, like, what steps do you need to take to break that trauma bond? I've heard some pretty interesting things recently where it's like, why are they still with this person? But they claim that they love them and everything. Unconditional love. I think, personally, that they're afraid to move forward. They have a fear of letting go. And when they come to this point, that they wait for the most heinous action to take place to leave. When they should have had all those red flags going like, no, 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 leave, 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 until it's too late. And I've heard of people that have been in abusive relationships to the point of death. Now, when I was young, very young, around 10 years old, I wasn't even aware that there was abuse going on between my mother and my stepfather. We were raised, you know, not only military, but we were raised through my stepdad's way of things. Very strict, very sheltered. Children were not to be heard, they were to be seen. Very stoic. We were not allowed to show our emotions. We were not allowed to get upset. If we did, we'd get our ass whooped. We had to stop crying immediately. And you just kind of learn how to, you know, to go with the program. Now, even though I came from that type of household in my youth, does not mean that I applied it to my own children, to my own family members. Like I said, I did have some anger issues, and I've had moments where I blew up, and I've dealt out some pretty poor treatment, and I own that. And one of the main reasons why I have dragged my feet on finding a suitable partner in my life is because I am aware of what people are capable of doing when they're very upset. And like I said, I don't want to repeat history. that somebody is going to blow off their top and put their hands on me, I bolt. You know, there's just, you know, that possessive vibe, that possession, like you are theirs and nobody else can have you and you cannot do this and you cannot do that. It's just very controlling. I don't even entertain it. People know what they're doing. Now, they can be remorseful, but if you keep forgiving a certain type of behavior and the next fight takes place and everything, I mean, you are not only playing Russian roulette with your life. Deer in the road. Okay, deer. Okay. Let's see how that went. Oh, you're still going. Well, let's do it. Might as well, right? Okay. Yeah, I prop you up with my sweaters. And I try not to cover the camera, but, you know, I'm going as I go. So I just came across a couple of deers crossing the road at the time that I was driving, so I decided to apply my brakes. And that's why y'all went flying. I just like double check sometimes. All right. So anyways, we talked about abuse and how it's unacceptable and everything, but there are people that haven't realized that abuse is not love. And they're under the guise that they must really care about me, they must really love me because they want to control me. Not the case, but some people do have this mindset, and I want to set the record straight. Abuse is not love. Abuse is control. That's it. And then sometimes people will use abuse as the last resort to push somebody away permanently because, see, I'm that kind of person. You put your hands on me, I will not cower down. I will fight back. And that's not a good dynamic, but I'm not going to sit there and get my ass whooped. I did that when I was a kid. I'm not going to do that as an adult. I will fight back. And I will fight back to whatever means it takes to get a person that I don't feel threatened anymore, basically. Because once I feel threatened, you know, gloves on. And I don't like feeling threatened, so therefore I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that gives me a threatening feeling, a threatening vibe, you know, that I would have to walk on eggshells, because that is something I don't do. And I don't think anybody should walk on eggshells in their life. But there are some people that do. And I have ways to help people get away from those people. I did it with my own mother, with my stepfather. I assisted her leaving. Now, do I look back and think that was a bad choice? I think there could have been something that could have fixed it, but because he was so set in his ways and she was so set in her ways, and they had a very strange relationship to begin with, it just opened my eyes to understanding that relationships sometimes have that kind of dynamic. It's where they would fight so they could do the makeup sex, because the makeup sex was way better than, I guess, a regular sex. However way it goes, there are people that have strange dynamics to their relationship, and the quirks, it works for them, so therefore I go like, okay, well, just, you know, remember, this is the number to the cops, and this is what happened. And I know places about women's refuges and stuff like this where you can go to a safe place and whatnot. Some people get really turned on by very aggressive sexual behavior. Some people get very turned off by very sexual aggressive behavior. It's all about what do you like, what are you into, and how far are you willing to go in this behavior, this type of treatment of your partner. And why these people have these quirks, I'm still looking into it, still doing research and everything. Like there's people that are into asphyxiation. Now, the thing about asphyxiation is if you do it proper, no one dies. And there's no super serious marks around your neck. People that are into bondage and stuff, you know, guys, you need to take it down a notch because you're starting to look like you're abused. And I mean, technically you kind of are abused, but you're into it. So we're not judging here. We're just like, you know, trying to make sense as to why somebody would be into that form of erotic behavior, erotic treatment. And if you guys aren't everything, I would just, you know, do your best to keep it on the DL. You know, there's makeup, there's, you know, dress yourself to where nothing is showing this, you know, showing evidence that you are into that type of sexual behavior. Then there are those that are really being abused and they really don't like it and they continually stay with that partner. It's like they're conditioned. It's almost, in a way, they actually become in love with their abuser. Now, it almost kind of falls into Stockholm Syndrome, which is basically where they feel captive or in a situation where they feel stuck in everything, so they end up falling. But they're really not falling. They're just coping. It's a coping mechanism where they are just inclined to stay with somebody because they're afraid to leave. There are outreach centers for this particular situation. There are ways to approach the matter and actually leave successfully alive. There are people that have to go into what is called the Witness Protection Agency, and they kind of go into a life change, a name change, life change, being taken out of their element and put somewhere safer. Now, I know people that have had to do this. I'm not going to go into detail because, again, it's Witness Protection Agency, which is not just for court stuff, but it's also for very abusive relationships where people will get out and away safe and get a chance at a new life. Sometimes, if they haven't learned the lesson, they're going to come across another person that's just going to do the exact same. It's like, I don't know. It's like people that have been through abuse, they have like a beacon about them. You know, people say that there's behaviors, certain behaviors that you'll see from people that have been abused. So, maltreatment, mistreatment, all whatever one you want to call it. If you come across these people, don't berate them with questions. Respect their privacy. Respect the fact that they don't want history to repeat and they like to keep to themselves and not want to endure a lot of attention. Some people get set in their ways and they just never move on and they stay stuck in that victim mindset because technically they are the victim. They have been through hell with somebody. They have witnessed horrible treatment to where it stunts them emotionally. It stunts their mental growth. Depending on how long the years of abuse is kind of how long it stunts them. I mean, some people never get out of this stage, and you have to respect this. It's not good to bottle up, but some people feel it's safer to bottle up their emotions instead of, to talk and let it out. And I was one of those people, I was thinking, these people probably need an outlet. And some resort to very risky behaviors, drug use, alcohol, all these things it's like to cope with horrible treatment that they've undergone. So what I'm going to express today is, I don't care how angry you get. I don't care how upset and you just feel like you can't control yourself. Control yourself. It is a choice to put your hands on somebody else. It is a choice where you lose, you flip your lid. I used to have a punching bag in my garage because of that reason of things that had upset me. I did not learn peace until later on in life. I wasn't able to come to peace on certain things that had upset me, things that had, and so I had taken my anger issues and I had channeled it out of me to an object and not a person. Anything that frustrated me, through the week, if it was just building and building and building, I went to the gym. And then I didn't feel comfortable going to the gym. Then I started having workout sessions in my own home. I had young children. So, I had a treadmill, I had a bag. I did everything I could to keep, whatever it was that was irking me, to let it out, not to stuff it. Because if I stuffed it, it could be like, a balloon. You just keep blowing into it, and it just pops. I don't want to be that person. And there's a lot of people that are. They just get really angry, and they can have these angry voices and have these angry actions to the, and they can blow up on the wrong person at the wrong time, all these things. And so my preventive measure was the punching bag, to work out, go on walks, run, anything I could possibly do to get that feeling out of me is what I did. And I recommend it. I recommend guys, women, anybody that has anger issues to not stuff it so you can become a time bomb and just blow up, but to get out there and find a good outlet. Now that doesn't mean to continuously do that, because you're gonna fuck up. This is when you need to make a self-conscious choice and find somebody, a confidant, find somebody that you can, counseling and stuff, to find out how to calm down in times where you feel threatened, in times like where I told you need to learn to become water in fiery situations. You have to learn how to de-escalate things and not escalate things. And one thing that works for me is 10 seconds of breathing. It's where I decide to get away from the situation that bothers me. Instead of running my mouth and getting, and escalating things, I'm learning how to just say, I need a moment. And what I do is I breathe. And I do like 5 breaths. About 5 breaths in 10 seconds. Now, it's not like I'm hyperventilating, but it's just like I'm redirecting everything to breathing exercises. And it helps. I don't think, I just breathe. Because thoughts, when you're angry and acting upon them, is a bad thing. Don't do that. It's like you want to have somebody that's water with someone that has fire. Because fire is combustion. It's a terrible mess, and you don't want that. And water, ideal. Calm, peaceful, great problem solvers. But sometimes water's going to get tired of putting out the fire, and it's going to be like, you're on your own, buddy. You fucked up. I'm tired of putting this out. I'm tired of fixing the relationship. I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of doing that. And like, you're going to get to points where you're going to find out if you're water or fire. And then you never want to become fire. You do not want to become fire. That is no desire. And I hope everybody understands that fire is bad. No juju. Like, bad juju. Just no. You don't want to be aggressive. Overly aggressive, abusive. You don't want to do that. You want to be able to come to a point in your life that you're able to balance. Thank you. At a turn, you want to pass me. Right on, buddy. And then you want to make sure that all the children in the household, elderly people, are all safe. When you get upset and angry, you're not only jeopardizing you going to jail and everything, but you're going to cause trauma to bystanders, people that witness it. You don't want to affect other people's life. It's like a ripple effect, There, you take a drop and still water. It's all calm, right? And you take the drop and you put it in the middle of the water. All of a sudden, the ripple effect, it gets larger from the one drop, just that one little thing, and it ripples through the water, right? Think of that when you're upset. Think of that like what will get hurt, or not what will get hurt, who gets hurt, who it affects. Every time that you get upset and you think in your mind just how you'd want to do somebody, wrong, back, you want to put your hands on them and everything, like, I would just like to wring their neck and everything. Think of the ripple effect. Think of how much damage just that little bit of anger being released in a poor fashion, how much damage it will cause. Yeah, people sometimes like to see ripples in water and everything. That's great, but you're going to see those ripples as damage. I want you to visualize each ripple that water drop made as damage. Damage to self, damage to others, damage to property, all these different things that are going to have negative impacts. As soon as you think of these particular things, guarantee you will calm down. Do you really want to go to jail? Do you really want to go to counseling with someone that you really don't want to see or talk to again? I mean, that's what will happen. You'll be forced to be putting up with a situation that you no longer want to put up with, unless you choose to leave. Because abusive households with children and stuff, guess what? CFS likes to pop in and take your kids away. You want to prevent that. Therefore, you calm the fuck down. You find another way to handle business. When the person leaves, let them leave. Let them go on a walk. Let them go on a drive. Let let them live in peace and safety away from you if you're the abuser. You don't stop someone. You don't force someone to be in your life. You don't force someone to be with you. You're going against their rights. And it's not cool. So you need to stop that. When someone wants to leave, they pack a bag. You do not try and stop them. You do not close the door and lock them in a room with you. You just don't interfere with them leaving. That will be used against you in court. Stopping people from moving on with their lives is just as wrong. Using the children to bring them back home, wrong. Oh, people are funny with their license plates. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for all this. Just remember, if you want it, golden rule basically is treat people as you want to be treated. They don't say these things just to be cliche-ish. They don't say these things because they're trying to. Whoever came up with these phrases knew all the words, knew the situation, knew everything about that very statement. And they wanted to share it with you. Remember, just treat people as you want to be treated. Don't do unto others what they have done to you. I believe what you put in and put out to the world comes back to you. If you continuously put love out there, the world will show you love. You continuously put hate, abuse, of any sort, it will come back to you. It will be the lesson of a lifetime. Learn your lesson. Learn to change. Learn to become a better person, as if your life depended on it. And that's about all I've got to say. To my destination. Just trying to figure out how to do this. Alright. Just love, not hate. Have a good one, everyone.